In the bustling city lived the golden couple of the medical community, Elsa and Joseph. Elsa, a renowned cardiologist, was known for her surgical precision and empathy with patients. Her eyes, always attentive, reflected the intelligence and dedication that made her one of the best in her field. Joseph, on the other hand, was a respected orthopedic surgeon whose skilled hands had restored mobility to countless patients. His warm smile and charismatic personality made him beloved by everyone at the hospital. Together they formed an unbeatable duo, both professionally and personally. They lived in a spacious house in the suburbs, decorated with a modern touch that reflected the couple's refined taste. The white walls were adorned with contemporary artworks, carefully chosen by Elsa during her rare breaks. The couple's routine was hectic, with long hours at the hospital interspersed with romantic dinners and lively conversations about the latest advances in medicine. Elsa loved sharing with Joseph the details of complex surgeries she performed, while he listened with genuine interest, asking pertinent questions and offering his unique perspective. It was amidst this life filled with professional achievements that Elsa and Joseph decided to embark on a new adventure: parenthood. The news of the pregnancy was received with great joy by both. Elsa, always methodical, immediately began to plan every detail of the coming months, from the baby's room decor to the organization of her maternity leave. When little Thomas was born, carrying blue eyes like his father's and dark hair like his mother's, Elsa made a decision that surprised many. She would take a year off to fully dedicate herself to motherhood. "It's a unique opportunity," she explained to her colleagues, who looked at her with a mix of admiration and incomprehension. The first days at home with Thomas were a mixture of joy and exhaustion. Elsa, accustomed to dealing with life-or-death situations in the operating room, now found herself challenged by seemingly simple tasks like changing diapers or calming a crying baby. The smell of powder and milk replaced the antiseptic aroma of the hospital she was so used to. As the weeks went by, Elsa began to feel a growing restlessness. Conversations with Joseph, once filled with medical terms and discussions about complex cases, now revolved around baby bottles and sleep schedules. She loved her son deeply, but missed the adrenaline and intellectual challenge that her career provided. It was then that Elsa discovered an unexpected escape: television soap operas. Initially, she would turn them on just as background noise while she did her household chores. But soon she found herself completely absorbed by the dramatic plots and charismatic characters. Every night, after putting Thomas to bed, Elsa would settle into the soft sofa in the living room, wrapped in a fluffy blanket, and dive into the fictional world of her favorite soap opera. The stories of love, betrayal, and redemption transported her far from her routine of bottles and diapers, offering a temporary escape from reality. When Joseph came home from the hospital, exhausted after long hours of surgery, he found Elsa eager to share the latest developments in the story. He listened attentively, asking questions and laughing at the most absurd twists. Seeing his wife, who was once so focused on medical matters, now enthusiastic about the adventures of fictional characters, amused and delighted him. "Oh, Joseph, you must think I'm silly for watching these things, right?" Elsa asked, a slight blush tinting her cheeks. "No, my love," he would reply, hugging her affectionately. "You are in a more relaxed phase. Enjoy this year off to give your mind a break too. Sometimes it's good to take a break and allow ourselves a little silliness." Joseph's words reassured her, but deep down, Elsa couldn't help but feel a bit guilty about her new pastime. She, who had always valued scientific knowledge above all, now found herself completely absorbed by fictional stories. One night, while watching a particularly dramatic episode, Elsa found herself shouting at the television, "How can she be so foolish, ignoring so many signs? All the evidence is right in front of her. In real life, nobody would be so naive." Annoyed by the main character's naivety, who was being cheated on by her husband, Elsa turned off the TV and went to prepare Thomas's bath. At that moment, the phone rang. It was Joseph. "Hi, love. I'm going to be late for dinner. You don't need to wait for me. Maybe I'll arrive and you'll already be asleep, he said, his voice tired over the phone. Elsa was well aware of the unpredictability of medical routines. All right, my love, I love you, she replied, hanging up the phone. But as she bathed Thomas, Joseph's call echoed in her mind. It was uncannily similar to the scene she had just watched on the soap opera. In the days that followed, Elsa found herself analysing every action of Joseph with a more critical eye. The way he frequently checked his phone, the late calls from the hospital, the last-minute cancelled dinners, everything seemed to take on a new meaning in the light of the plots she watched daily on television. She tried to push these thoughts away, considering them ridiculous and unworthy of an intelligent woman like her. But the seeds of doubt had been planted, inadvertently nurtured by the dramatic stories she consumed every night. One day, Joseph announced, "Love, tonight I have a hospital party to attend. One of those boring parties to raise donations." Elsa was well acquainted with these events, having participated in many before her maternity leave. "Do you want me to accompany you?" she asked, a part of her eager to return, even if briefly, to the world she was accustomed to. "No need," Joseph quickly replied. "I don't want to bore you. Besides, I'll just stay for a short while and, as soon as I can, I'll return home." Joseph's words, although perfectly reasonable, stirred an unease in Elsa that she couldn't explain. She spent the whole day with it on her mind, comparing herself to the naive character from her favourite soap opera. Was she also being foolish, ignoring obvious signs? As the evening approached, an idea began to form in Elsa's mind. It was absurd, completely out of character for her, but she couldn't shake it off. After putting Thomas to sleep and leaving him in her mother's care, Elsa found herself driving towards the venue of the party where her husband was. The ballroom of the luxury hotel sparkled with golden lights, reflecting off the jewellery and champagne glasses of the elegantly dressed guests. Elsa, in her jeans and simple t-shirt, felt completely out of place. Without an invitation and inadequately dressed, she knew she couldn't just walk through the front door. With her heart racing, Elsa circled the building and found the service entrance. The kitchen was a whirlwind of activity, with chefs shouting orders and waiters rushing back and forth with trays full of food. Taking advantage of the confusion, she grabbed an apron hanging near the door and an empty tray. Taking a deep breath and trying to appear as natural as possible, Elsa entered the main hall. Her eyes anxiously scanned the crowd, searching for Joseph. She moved discreetly among the guests, her face partially hidden by the tray she held in front of her. Finally, she spotted him. Joseph was sitting at a table in the corner, surrounded by a group of grey-haired gentlemen she recognized as members of the hospital board. Her husband looked bored, idly fiddling with his glass while the others chatted animatedly. Elsa felt a wave of relief and, at the same time, shame for her distrust. Joseph was exactly where he said he would be, doing exactly what he said he would do. She felt foolish and childish for having doubted him. Deciding that she had gone too far with that madness, Elsa began to retreat toward the kitchen. It was at that moment that Joseph stood up, apparently saying goodbye to the group. Panicking, Elsa tried to hide behind a decorative column. In her haste, she did not notice the waiter coming towards her, carrying a tray full of champagne glasses. The collision was inevitable. Glasses shattered on the marble floor, the golden liquid spreading like a gleaming puddle. Elsa and the waiter fell into a tangle of limbs and shards of glass. The noise attracted everyone's attention in the hall. Laughter and exclamations of surprise echoed through the environment. Mortified, Elsa tried to get up, her face red with embarrassment. It was then that she heard a familiar voice. "Hey, this is my wife!" Joseph was there, looking at her with an expression of complete bewilderment. He reached out his hand, helping her to stand up. The next few minutes passed in a blur. Joseph apologized to the event organizers and gently but firmly guided Elsa out of the hall. The silence in the car was heavy, broken only by the soft sound of the engine. Finally, parked in front of their house, Elsa remained silent for a few moments, looking at the steering wheel with trembling hands. Joseph waited, respecting her time. Then, with a choked voice, she finally spoke. "Joseph, I need to tell you something," she said, trying to hold back the tears that were already threatening to fall. "I know it will seem silly, maybe even irrational, but I need to be honest with you." He looked at her attentively, concerned but calm. "You can talk, love. What's going on?" Elsa took a deep breath. "In the past few months, I've been feeling different. Lost, maybe. Staying at home with Thomas has been wonderful, but it's also been confusing. I miss my routine, the medicine, who I was before, and amidst all of this I started watching soap operas. At first it was just to pass the time, but over time they started to affect me." Joseph frowned but remained silent, listening. "The stories, the betrayals, the suspicions, I started to see signs in everything. I started to doubt you, doubt us. I felt ridiculous, but I couldn't help it. When you told me you were going to the party today, Her voice faltered for a moment. "I went there, trying to see if there was something wrong. And it was so absurd, so shameful." She lowered her head, ashamed, as tears rolled down her face. "I felt like that naive character everyone criticizes, that blind woman who ignores the signs, and it terrified me. I didn't suspect because you gave me a reason, but because I let those stories distort my view of our real life." Joseph remained silent for a few more seconds, taking everything in. Then he gently took Elsa's hands in his, squeezing them affectionately. "My love," he said, looking into her eyes with tenderness. "Do you know what I see when I look at you?" Elsa shook her head, her eyes brimming with tears. "I see the brightest, strongest, and most incredible woman I've ever met. You amaze me every day, even now, even at this moment, and no, I have never even come close to anyone who is more interesting than you. Never. I am not bored by your side. On the contrary, I thank God every day for having you with me." Joseph's words were like a balm to Elsa's troubled heart. She felt foolish, but also deeply loved and understood. "Well, I guess it's time for me to give up that soap opera," she said, trying for a shaky smile. Joseph laughed, pulling her into a tight embrace. "Maybe it's time for us to go back to watching those science documentaries you used to love so much," he suggested. That night, lying in bed with little Thomas sleeping peacefully in the room next door, Elsa and Joseph talked for hours. They spoke about their fears, their expectations, about how the arrival of the baby had changed their lives in ways they hadn't anticipated. Elsa realized that her obsession with soap operas was actually a symptom of something bigger, missing her professional life, the fear of losing her identity amidst diapers and baby bottles. Joseph, on the other hand, admitted that he missed the long conversations they used to have about medicine and science. Together they devised a plan. Elsa would start dedicating a few hours a week to medical studies, keeping herself updated in her field. Joseph committed to coming home earlier whenever possible, so they could have quality time together as a family. In the weeks that followed, Elsa gradually reduced her consumption of soap operas. Instead, she and Joseph began to watch scientific documentaries and medical series together, commenting on and discussing the cases presented. These sessions became a new ritual for the couple, a way to reconnect intellectually and emotionally. As Elsa's maternity leave was coming to an end, she felt renewed and eager to return to work. The experience of motherhood had transformed her, making her more empathetic and patient, qualities that she knew would enrich her medical practice. In her first week back at the hospital, Elsa found herself smiling as she overheard two nurses discussing the latest soap opera. She then realized that there was nothing wrong with enjoying a bit of fiction as long as she kept her feet firmly planted in reality. That evening, when she arrived home, Elsa found Joseph playing on the carpet with Thomas. Her heart filled with love and gratitude. She had learned a valuable lesson. Real life, with all its challenges and joys, was infinitely richer and more satisfying than any fictional drama could be. As she joined her family on the carpet, Elsa reflected on how easy it is for us to be influenced by what we see and hear, whether on television, social media, or any other media. The key, she realized, was to maintain a healthy balance, appreciating entertainment for what it is, but never allowing it to distort our perception of reality or threaten the relationships that truly matter. With Thomas laughing in her arms and Joseph by her side, Elsa knew she had found her happy ending, not on a TV screen, but in the life she had built with love, trust, and mutual understanding. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.